All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Had a late start just because I had a little bit of a headache earlier, but now that it's clear up, I'm good and ready to go. Just going to get things set up and we'll start. That's set up. Okay, let's begin. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of Benny and the Booth podcast. On this week's episode, we've got Army-Navy game to recap, NFL Week 14 to recap with Week 15 predictions, and big MLB news that has dropped since last week's episode, and more. Let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 58 of Benny and the Booth podcast. Thank you so much for your support to this point. I very much do appreciate it. As I said before, I am doing this a little bit later than usual just because I had a headache and wanted to wear it off before I sat down to record this go live with the episode this week. But everything's okay now. All good. No worries. Moving on. One news I do want to put out before we get into the episode. In like middle January, from the week of January 15th, I will not be recording any episode of the podcast due to I have midwinter break and I'm going to be, or at least I'm planning to be in Southern California area for midwinter break, doing stuff, sports related for break for a few days, and I will not be putting out a podcast that week. I will remind once again once we get closer, but that week I will not be putting out an episode of the podcast due to me being in Southern California. But I am hoping to once again make that a vlog, however. So even though there might not be an episode from that week, though it might take some time for me to put out the vlog, I'm hoping to have a vlog come out instead at some point down the line after that trip I have planned, hopefully from 15th to the 19th. But just wanted to give that update so you guys are aware. No episode that week. I'll remind once again once we get closer. But just wanted to at least put it out there now so it's noted. All right, let's get into this week's episode. Army-Navy game. This is, like I said, is always a game you can never really predict what's going to happen. It's a game that you just got to show up whenever you watch it, whether live or highlights, and you just see what happens. You never know who's going to truly win, who's going to truly lose. You never know how it's going to play out. And boy, was this a crazy game. very much a crazy game between Army and Navy. And the box score tells you, in a way, the story of this game, but in a way, it really doesn't. First of all, there was no scoring the entire first quarter, all the way into like early, mid, late second quarter. And this game was whack. There was a blocked punt return for a touchdown. You had crazy turnovers. This game even went to double overtime, with Navy tying the game heading in. Army tying the game heading into overtime, and then both teams scored in overtime to force double overtime, and then in double overtime, Navy literally got within the 1 yard line. 4 tries to score, 4 fails. Army took it downfield, knocked a and Army recovering a fumble of Navy's at the end zone, and then Quinn Moretsky of Army game-winning 39-yard field goal to give Army the 20-17 victory in double overtime. If you get a chance, watch the highlights from that game. That game was crazy beyond anything I've seen. One of the craziest games I've seen in college football since I've been following college football. Let's get into MLB news since the last episode. So, where did I left? So last I left off was, wow, missed a lot actually. So since we last had an episode, there's been a lot that has happened. Let's see. Tommy Kahnle is going to the Yankees, not his first time. 2-year, $11.5 million contract. He's had a few decent years. Interesting to see how he'll do in New York. Josh Bell agreeing to a 2-year deal with the Cleveland Guardians. Andrew Heaney signing a 2-year deal, $25 million with the Texas Rangers. Cody Bellinger, which when I saw this, I just literally was like, oh my, why? 1 year, $17.5 million contract with the Cubs. Mitch Haniger signing with the Giants, 3 years, $43.5 million. Taijuan Walker signing with the Phillies, 4 years, $72 million. And obviously, there's one thing I am gonna talk about and have to talk about: the Aaron Judge, quote unquote. I don't even know how to label it. Basically, and I'm gonna give context for where I was when this was happening. So last Tuesday, I had a wedding to go to. Soon after I posted the podcast last week. And I was on the way. I don't know where it was or how close I was, but I was on the way. And I get this notification from my phone, actually from a friend of mine. Shout out my friend who sent me the news. That Aaron Judge, that Aaron Judge was supposedly going to the San Francisco Giants. It didn't say a contract. It just said he's agreed basically to go to the San Francisco Giants, which was just like, how? And I was with a bunch of other people who were baseball fans, and we were all just like, wait, what? Now, at first, it said Arson Judge, which is just like, what? Then it was changed to Aaron Judge, which just made the whole world like explode. Like, what? Yankee fans seemingly not happy. And then, and let me put this way. John Heyman was the one who reported this. John Heyman, who's like a relatively big, though, his role got demoted in a way by a lot of people after what ended up truly happening. And then it came out that Heyman said that, yeah, actually, Giants haven't made a move, my bad. And it was just like relief for Yankee fans. Literally, when he posted that last tweet, I was like, I unfollowed that account. Like, come on. There are Giants fans that are like utterly pissed. Like, what the heck? They have a full right to be pissed about it. I mean, they ended up getting Mitch Haniger, but I don't know. And on top of that, Aaron Judge literally ended up signing back with the Yankees, 9 years, $360 million, just to add a cherry on top. Mets also got Jose Quintana, 2 years, $26 million. Kenley Jansen going to the Boston Red Sox on a 2-year, $32 million contract. The Cardinals grabbing Wilson Contreras from in free agency, 5-year, $87.5 million. And this hurts me in one of two ways. I mean, good for him to get money, but this hurts me in one of two ways. One, why does it have to be the Cardinals? Like, why within the division? And on top of that, he apparently said he's always, even as a Cub, wanted to be a St. Louis Cardinal, which I'm just like, oh my gosh. That, like, hurts me more. And that sends me the message that Cubs fans are going to majorly boo him Monday, May 8th, when he makes his first return to Wrigley since the offseason. The Boston Red Sox are the lucky winners to get Masataka Yoshida, the outfielder from Japan, on a 5-year, $90 million contract. Padres get Xander Bogaerts, 11-year, $280 million contract. Good addition for them. Where they're going to play all their shortstop position, primary people with this, I don't know. Will be interesting to see what happens. The Mets bring back Brandon Nimmo, not 8-year, $162 million contract. Worthy of a big contract. He played very well. He's been very well the last few years. They also grabbed Kodai Singh, a 5-year, $75 million contract. Huge addition to their rotation. And if anything, they've improved their rotation from last year. And then the big bombshell trade that came up yesterday. And it was confusing because some people were thinking Adames was going to be a part of this trade. Some people were thinking this and this. But then this was the trade. Oakland A's traded Sean Murphy, their catcher, to the Atlanta Braves, while the Braves sent catcher Manny Pena to Oakland. Milwaukee sending Manny Pena. It's a 3-team trade between Atlanta, Oakland, and Milwaukee. Oakland sends Sean Murphy to Atlanta. Pena is going to Oakland. William Contreras also is going to Milwaukee from the Braves. Manny Pena from the Brewers. Oakland is also getting Esaú Ruiz from the Brewers, Kyle Muller and Freddie Tarnok, and Royber Salinas from the Braves. Milwaukee also gets Justin Yeager from Atlanta and Joel Payamps from Milwaukee. And clearly, Oakland did not get the best of the players in this trade. But is this the worst trade ever? I don't know. And I will admit something. It's kind of head-scratching for the Braves because you have Travis d'Arnaud, who's got a great bat, decent defender. I mean, yeah, you get Sean Murphy's Gold Glove, but, like, I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see how they manage their lineup this coming season. Chris Bassett going to the Blue Jays on a 3-year, $63 million deal. Mike Zunino signed with the Cleveland Guardians on a 1-year, $6 million contract. They finally get someone who can hit and has a bit of a glove behind the plate. And then Ross Stripling signing with the San Francisco Giants, 2 years, $25 million contract. Definitely some big news since we last had an episode of the podcast. But that is all the MLB news going into this week's episode. Alrighty, so NFL Week 14, definitely some big storylines, also some injuries. Kyler Murray last night, torn ACL, he's going to be out for the rest of the year. That damages the Cardinals. Kenny Pickett left the game for the Steelers. I haven't heard anything about him. Mike White left the game for the Jets on Sunday. I haven't heard anything about him. That's pretty much it for injury department. So NFL Week 14, Baker Mayfield ended up signing with the Rams, and he didn't start the game, but he came in and actually led them from down 16-3 to beat the Raiders 17-16. Crazy game, crazy comeback. Good for him. Will it be a 1-week fluke or not? We'll see this coming week who do they play this week? New England. Oh, no, wait. No, sorry. That's Vegas. Who do they play this week? Why am I like... Oh, Packers Monday Night Football. All right, yeah. Anyways, Bengals and Joe Burrow. Burrow finally gets a win over the Browns. They just demolished the Browns. The score really doesn't tell the story completely. Beating the Browns 23-10. I mean, it really does, but they the biggest problem was the Bengals had this one drive where they were about to literally give the Browns the ball back. And Tony Fields, who had the big pick six the week before, decided to ruin all the good he had from last week by running into the punter, which gave the Bengals first down. Browns just had too many costly penalties, and they got beat up. Their season's over. They're not making the playoffs. The one positive out of the game is that Deshaun Watson looked a lot better, and it didn't really help because they didn't win. But to at least have seen a lot of improvement from him was at least a positive to take out of it. We'll see what happens this week in their game against the Ravens. Anyways, the Cowboys came back from down 23-17 after Dak threw 2 interceptions on the game to beat Houston off a Zeke 2-yard rushing touchdown, 27-23. They barely got away with this win. I was literally ready to go on if Dallas did not come back, I was ready to go on Twitter and just be laughing at Cowboy fans because oh, you can't beat the Texans, but yet the Browns can and so many other teams can. But they did end up winning, and yeah, they got T.Y. Hilton. I'll tell you that they got T.Y. Hilton, but try convincing me now after this game how they're gonna go beat Philly in 2 weeks. Christmas Eve in Philly. Not in Philly, sorry, it's in Dallas, I think. Convince me how that's going to happen. Okay, it's in Dallas. That doesn't matter. How are they going to beat them after this game? They're going to get wrecked. They're going to get creamed. And I know I'm not the only person that agrees with that, thinks that. They're going to get creamed. If you're a Cowboys fan and think you still have a chance of winning that game, get out of delusional land because you ain't winning that game. Now, if they go back beat Philly in 2 weeks, bravo, congrats. But still, the fact that you barely won this game is embarrassing on your part, Dallas. Embarrassing and shameful. I mean, even the Browns, who had struggled early against them, at least whooped them in the end. So many other teams beat them, but Dallas, I would have expected blowout, and they only barely escaped with the win. Moving on to I said Tigers. Ugh. Lions beat the Vikings 34-23. Jaguars beat the Titans 36-22. Ravens beat Pittsburgh, who lost Kenny Pickett, as I said, during the game, 16-14. And the 49ers completely destroyed Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 35-17. So that is this week's recap. My predictions this week went terribly, 5-8. Overall, I'm 125, 81, and 2. Standings update. In the AFC East, Bills in first place at 10-3, followed by the 8-5 Dolphins, followed by the 7-6 Patriots and Jets. AFC North, Ravens, Bengals both at 9-4, followed by the 5-8 Browns and Steelers. AFC South, Titans in first place at 7-6, followed by the 5-8 Jaguars, followed by the 4-8 Colts, followed by the 1-11-1 Texans, who are eliminated from the playoffs. In the AFC, and then in the AFC West, 10-3 Chiefs in first place, followed by the 7-6 Chargers, followed by the 5-8 Raiders, followed by the eliminated from the playoffs 3-10 Broncos. In the NFC and the NFC East, Eagles in first place at 12-1, clinching a playoff spot after their crushing of the Giants this past week, followed by the 10-3 Cowboys, followed by the 7-5-1 Commanders and Giants. NFC North, Vikings in first place at 10-3, followed by the 6-7 Lions, followed by the 5-8 Packers, followed by the 3-10 eliminated from the playoffs Bears. NFC South, first place is the Buccaneers at 6-7, followed by the 5-8 Panthers, followed by the Falcons, followed by the 4-9 Saints. And then NFC West, 9-4 49ers in first place, followed by the 7-6 Seahawks, followed by the 4-9 Cardinals and Rams. That's for conference standings. Now that they matter more towards the playoffs. First place tie between the Bills and the Chiefs. So Bills are up top since they have the tiebreaker. Both at 10-3, followed by the 9-4 Ravens and Bengals, followed by the 8-5 Dolphins, followed by 7-6 Titans and Patriots. Chargers and Jets are also at 7-6, but they're outside the playoffs where the Titans and Patriots would still be within the playoff standings if the playoffs were today. Followed by the 5-8 Jaguars, Raiders, Browns, and Steelers, followed by the 4-8-1 Colts. I don't count eliminating from the playoff teams when I do conference standings. For the NFC, Eagles in first place at 12-1, followed by the 10-3 Vikings and Cowboys, followed by the 9-4 Niners, followed by the 7-5-1 Commanders and Giants, followed by the 7-6 Seahawks. All of those would be in the playoffs as if the playoffs were today. Below that, Buccaneers and Lions both at 6-7, followed by the 5-8 Packers, Panthers, and Falcons, followed by the 4-9 Cardinals, Saints, and Rams. That is the standings update and then predictions for this week for NFL Week 15. Thursday Night Football, Seahawks 49ers at the Seahawks. I have the 49ers winning that game. Ravens at Browns Saturday at 4:30. I skipped. Vikings hosting the Colts 1 p.m. on Saturday. I have the Vikings. Ravens at Browns 4:30 on Saturday. I have the Ravens. I don't think the Browns are going to be able to win after this past week. Hopefully, just Watson has another good game. Dolphins at Bills 8:15 on Saturday. I have the Bills. Falcons at Saints. I have the Saints. Eagles at Bears. I have the Eagles. Lions at Jets. I have the Jets. Steelers at Panthers. I have the Steelers. Cowboys at Jaguars. I have the Cowboys. Chiefs at Texans. I have the Chiefs. Cardinals at the Broncos. I have the Cardinals. I was thinking of changing the pick, but at the end of the day, even the Broncos might be without their starter, Wilson, who left the game. So I'm staying with my pick. Patriots at Raiders, I have the Raiders. Titans at Chargers, I have the Chargers. Bengals at Buccaneers, I have the Bengals. Giants at Commanders, Sunday Night Football, I have the Commanders. And then Rams at Packers, I have the Packers. That's Monday Night Football. That is Week 15 predictions. That is the NFL part of this week's episode, and that is this week's episode of the podcast. So let's wrap things up here. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Benny the Moose Podcast. On next week's episode, we'll have NFL Week 15 recap with Week 16 predictions. We'll have MLB news between now and then, and whatever else that could pop up in the sports world between now and then. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe, hit notification button so you're notified when I go live and or post a video. If you are new on audio, follow the podcast there, leave a review, and hit notification button so you're notified when I post on there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's episode 59. Bye!